Alright, hello people, Steel Gamer here with an open discussion discussing what the problem with the gaming community actually is. And I'll be getting some people probably coming in here just to due to the name of the discussion. But basically this whole thing is what frosts your ass when it comes to the gaming community. Like what really seriously bothers you. Let's discuss some real issues. Not this crap about, he mined Bitcoin, or he called me a troll. Let's look at the real issues here. And as people come in, I will be, talking about whatever. Feel free to discuss whatever you want. I'm not gonna, I don't have chats and I don't have moderators in my chat. I don't use Nightbot or anything else like that because that just becomes too abusive, which basically brings me to the first problem with the gaming community, which is basically streamers who were damn friggin' abusive after the problems that they cause with people. And basically earlier I was in a game, I was in a stream with the Division, and what wound up happening was, if you're, my message to all of the people that are streaming the stuff, if you're too damn busy to look at your chat, stop getting in the middle of discussions on them. If you don't want to read the entire chat about what's going on, then don't participate in the chat. But if you're going to start making snooty remarks at the participants and then have a problem when you get something said back to you because you're too dumb to read the entire chat, you have no business causing a problem with the person by saying, you shouldn't behave like that in here. What the hell kind of crap is that? If you're going to stream and you can't, and you don't want to read the chat, stop making stupid comments at people. Because, for example, I was in the stream, and basically what happened was I said some things about the game that was streaming. I guess apparently the person didn't like it. I didn't say it to be a jerk. I just said, there's a problem with the game. Hopefully somebody can help me, play it. And then somebody asked me a question. One of the moderators in the stream asked me a question, and I answered it. And then the friggin' idiot streamer goes, "You're repeating yourself." So I turned around and I said to him, I'm like, "Look, of course I'm repeating myself, numbnuts. Read the damn chat. First I said something that there was a problem with the game, and then I answered somebody who asked me a question, one of the moderators. He says, "Well, if you're going to cause problems in here like that," I says, "Dude, stop being a douchebag. You didn't read the chat, and then you're just making snooty remarks because you didn't read the chat." So he acted like I'm the one that caused the frickin' problem, and I basically told him, I says, "If you're going to do this, I'm just going to block you." You know what I mean? I'll block the moderators. I don't know what it is with people in this in YouTube streams where they think that you cannot block somebody. It's simple. To the right of the live chat, anybody that's typed anything in there, there are 3 dots to the right of the person's name. Click the 3 dots, and there is an option in there that says block. You can block moderators. You can block anybody in the chat, I think, except for the stream controller. I'm not sure. Unless they say something in the chat, and then you can block them too. Block is an option for no matter who you are. Just because you're a moderator or a streamer does not make you exempt from that option. And so if you don't want to be blocked, stop being stupid. But the problem with moderators in these streams and the streamers themselves is that they don't bother reading the chat, and then they say snooty remarks, which is instigating problems. And then when you say something back because you got talked to like that, which is natural, they have the freaking balls to tell you, "Don't start in here. Don't say stupid shit and you won't be started with." So, I mean, that's just a problem with streamers in general, and they're fucking toxic when they do that. And the bottom line comes down to, as I said it before, if you can't control your stream chat or you don't want to read it, don't get involved with it. Because, it's too long to read. Stop getting involved with it, because there are pieces of conversation that go with other pieces of conversation. And if you don't want to read them, stop getting involved with it. Hey, what's up, streamer? I'm just going over things about what frosts your ass with the gaming community, and basically I was just going over toxic streamers, some freaking jerk that started with me who was streaming. And one of the things I want to get clear to people is that streamers don't own the stream. They say, "This is my stream." No, it's actually not your stream. It's a stream that the server, whatever you're on, allows you to have. You are still supposed to be abiding by those rules of the stream, even though nothing gets done about it, which in itself is another problem. And so the reason I don't use Twitch is because there's too many abusive people in there, and Twitch can't follow its own terms of service. YouTube really is no better, but at least YouTube has some leeway on stuff. So it's absolutely ridiculous that that people are allowed to pull this crap on you and then act like you're the one that started something because they're too damn stupid to read the chat. And moderators are abusive anyway. They are the cause of more problems in the chat than necessary. If you don't want to read what somebody says, block them. You don't need a moderator to babysit and tell you who not to listen to. As I said, people somehow think that there's no such thing as a block option in the chat. You can't block moderators. You can block any person that's in any live chat on YouTube. If somebody types something in there, go to the right of their name and there are 3 dots. Click the dots and you will find options in there, and one of them is block. Block the person, and then it removes every single message that they put on the entire screen, on the entire chat. You won't even see them. Problem solved. And I basically, it's like moderators get pissed off when you tell them that. Oh, I'm not going to freaking listen to you. If you're going to talk to me like that, I'm not going to listen to you. But I'm sure as hell not going to talk to you. I'm sure it's not going to have you talk to me in some way, and then when I say something back to you, you tell me not to start a problem. Screw you. That's not just going to happen. That's just not going to happen. So if you don't want to be blocked in a chat, that's the bottom line. This is why I don't use Nightbot. This is why I don't use moderators. If you don't like what somebody says, block them. You have control over your own chat. You don't need me to babysit. Well, what if there's a link in there? Do you click links in your email that you don't know? Okay, the same thing in chat applies to the chat. So that's not an excuse to, to do that. It's ridiculous. So anyway, that's basically one of the beefs I have with streamers in general, and why people ask me. It's like, don't you have a moderator? No, I don't, because I'm not a babysitter. So if anybody else has anything that they want to add or whatever it is, we can talk about whatever that they want, because one of the things my channel is filled with is developer. I freaking hate developers that are freaking lazy. And the gaming community in general has this thing where a mass consensus makes a fact. And if you don't listen to the masses, or you go against the masses, that you're the bad guy. It's like somebody said to me one time, "You going to tell 1 million people that they're wrong?" I said, "Listen, let's get something straight here." Because I say it like it is, and that's one of the main reasons. Okay, yeah, I understand that. No, mods are not needed. There is a block option. Okay, so here, for example, all right, I'm going to type something in the chat. Let me just explain this. I'll just say hi. Let me get this in here. Okay. See, this is what I try to explain to people. I'm not trying to be a jerk when I say this. Moderators are invalid in a chat, and I will explain why. Well, even my name. Highlight my name in this chat. I know, but what I'm saying is highlight names. If you highlight a name in the chat, there are 3 dots over to the side. They have a block option. That option, when you click it, removes every single line of every single chat in the entire live chat, so you don't even see what the person says. Period. You can do it to moderators, you can do it to the person who owns the stream, anything. The reason why I bring this up is because that option is the moderator. It nullifies the reason for a moderator. Moderators are not needed. That's what I'm saying is, people... Alright, let's put it this way. In games, alright, now I'm talking about paid games, I'm not talking about free-to-play games, okay? Free-to-play games, that's one thing. There's no, you can't complain about that. But when it comes to a game that you actually purchased, we'll take, for example, I'll use Diablo 3, for example. Alright, Diablo 3 has more abuse reasons for vote to kick. Vote to kick, people will argue, is needed in the game. And I compare this to moderators in a chat. Same thing on forums. Alright, here's the thing. Games that have a way to make their game private removes the need for vote to kick. That is what private is for. Just in the same fashion, block in a text chat is the whole purpose, so you don't see what somebody's saying. And in this particular case, it doesn't just block the person's one comment. If you block the comment, it literally removes every comment that person has ever typed in the entire chat since you've been there. Like, you can scroll up the list, it'll say comment, remove, it'll just say it's blocked. So what you just did was you controlled your own chat by not having to listen to somebody. Now, if I don't want to listen to somebody in a chat, I block them. Now, here's the thing. A lot of what happens to a lot of people when you get into these discussions, they don't like what you're saying because they either think that you're attacking the game, or you don't like them, or whatever the case is. The fact remains is they will put you in a timeout. That is abusive, and that is starting a problem. Preventing somebody from speaking in a chat because you don't like what they're saying, regardless, unless there's an extreme here. Talking about child porn, rape, or anything else of that nature is a problem. Yes, that is a completely different story. But if somebody is yelling at somebody or saying this person sucks or whatever it is, and you put them in a timeout, you have literally just purposely went out of your way to cause a problem with that person. And the reason behind that is because block solves that problem. And so, we can going back and forth with this. Like, for example, if we were in a chat, okay, and this was going on, and you and I were having this same exact chat and text in somebody else's stream, they would put both of us in a timeout because we're having a discussion. They're playing a game. What we are talking about does not stop them from interfering with the game. It doesn't. So, removing somebody because we're having a discussion is ridiculous, because half of the stuff that's it now, just so you know, one thing that people probably may or may not be aware of when it comes to streams, if you see all of these people with like 180 views, 3,000 viewers and things like that, those are not people. Most of those are bots, and or there are multiple accounts that those people opened up and are just sitting there with a computer open or different windows open or whatever it is, and they are watching themselves to gain views, so it makes it look like there's more people than there is. Because let's face it, nobody can have 3,400 viewers every time they stream for a consistent 7 hours. It doesn't work that way, and that's the reality on it. And on top of that, my friend wound up getting somehow, I guess it was a time that nobody was using Twitch at that particular time frame. It was like some weird hours in the morning. It was like 4 in the morning or something. And what wound up happening was, since he had more viewers than anybody, it puts you at the front of the screen. So when you go into like the YouTube gaming, you'll see somebody at the top of at the front page, and they have like X amount of viewers. My friend was telling me that just being on the front page, so the Twitch program itself, the site, was giving him views on purpose. So basically, he was just generating views from being on the front page. So the whole point that I'm making is, a lot of these people that you see have views aren't actually people. They're either programs that they do, or they bought programs that they purchased views from. My friend and I would talk to people. There's people who sell bought views. They sell views. And they do it to get people partnered with like Twitch and things like that. The whole system is completely corrupted. There's no way you can legitimately earn a baseline and have a consistent, X amount of viewers every single time you view. It's not possible. So I just wanted to make people aware of that. And by the way, I'll be streaming the game that I got views for at like 11:30 or something like that. And so what the point that I'm getting here is that, let me see what I'm going to read here. The stream has hundreds of people in their chat, and they can't spend time to read everything. Yeah, I don't have an issue with somebody not reading everything. I get that. But the point is that, like, I don't know if you were here when I first started, but okay, then if that's the case, the streamer should not be even getting involved in the chats. Period. They shouldn't be saying anything to the viewers, because they'll be reading part of a chat with something that happened 5 minutes ago. And then, if something was said 5 minutes ago in response, the streamer can say something to the person, and then the person's getting verbally assaulted by the streamer, because the streamer didn't bother to read everything. So the point is if a streamer can't read everything in a chat, they shouldn't be responding to anybody in the chat for anything. Generic questions are fine, but like take for example what happened to me. There wasn't many people in this chat. I went into the game and I says, there's problems with this. I said, it's too bad that this game, doesn't have instructions. It's really impossible to play. So one of the moderators said to me, well, or it wasn't a moderator, it was somebody else. They go, what's confusing? And I said, well, what isn't confusing? I said, just go watch this. I have this in your spare time, whatever. Go watch this. And so what wound up happening is the streamer had the balls to tell me I'm repeating myself. So I told the streamer, I says, of course I'm repeating myself, numbnuts. I said something, and then somebody asked me a question, and I answered it. I said, if you're too stupid to... I didn't say that, but I wound up saying, if you're too stupid to read the chat, you shouldn't have it, because that was after he said to me, well, you shouldn't be coming in here starting like that. Don't say something like that to me. Screw him. He wants to say something like that to me. He was the one that started the problem. Now, here's the thing. People will look at, well, that's childish. Yeah, actually it is. But you know what? On the net, if you're going to talk to somebody a specific way, you have no business. I'm not saying you in general. I'm saying you in general. People have no business complaining about what's being said, and this runs into a problem with the forums in general, because what happens is people only care about what somebody's replying with. They don't give a shit about what caused the person to reply, because if a topic is fine until some asshole goes in there and starts going, I like cupcakes. And it's like, you tell the person, get lost because you don't belong in here. Somebody's like, well, you shouldn't be saying get lost like that. You should be more polite about it. That in turn and basically at that point, the whole topic becomes out of control. All because of some asshole goes in and says, I like cupcakes. Regardless of whether that was, fine or not, isn't the point. The point is nobody bothers to go back and look at what caused the forum to be a mess in the first place. So, in general, gamers have a backwards mentality where they don't give a shit what caused something. They only care if somebody replies to something. If somebody corners somebody in, you're going to say something. That's the way the human nature works. And instead of removing the asshole from the forum that said, I like cupcakes, they condemn the person who replied to the person saying that. And so what you have is a friggin' mess. And when you remove the person for defending themselves, you are now being an abusive asshole. Period. That's the way it works. And then what happens is you get the clowns who will go out of their way. If you happen to be on another forum and ask a problem, they says, oh, somebody will come in and this person's trolling. Look at what they did on this other forum. And they start bringing links into the other forum. Then that person, it's like that person's following them around, purposely causing problems. So the entire gaming community never bothers to look at who or what is causing the replies. They're only looking at the fact that somebody's replying without a care in the world to what caused it. When in reality, what causes the reply is the problem. So until that's cleaned up, which it never will be, it's unfortunately that everybody has to do this. And this is one of the main reasons. One of the things I talk about is why I took ZeniMax Online Media to court. I had they were basically allowing people to follow me around the game for over 2 months, making rude comments at me. They knew what was going on. They told me if I have a problem, put people on my ignore list. Then they actually had the balls to say, you're the only person that has your entire ignore list filled. I'm like, you're the freaking one who told me to do it. I says, if you had an infinite ignore list, it wouldn't be an issue. And then they said, well, you abused the report feature. And this just went on and on and on. I said, freaking dude, give me my money back for my game. No. I says, okay, I'll take you to fucking small claims court. So the bottom line is, it got moderated because you don't want to get into a debate with that unless you know what you're doing. And I finally said to their lawyer when I had him in court, I said, listen, here's the deal. You're going to go back and forth and get stuff. I'm going to go back and forth stuff and get stuff. I said, this is just going to go back and forth. I says, I have all the time in the world, and it didn't cost me a cent to file this. I says, I'm going to keep going over this and over this. And I said, if you want to push me, I'm going to push back. I said, the bottom line comes down to this. You guys are allowing things to go on in your game you say are completely against the terms of service. And I says, you're going to get in serious trouble with this, because if this doesn't go over well, I will turn this over to the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, and you guys are going to get fucked. I said, because I'll just subpoena every friggin' chat record in the entire game from everybody that was involved, and then subpoena the friggin' information that these accounts are tied to. And I says, I have video evidence and everything else that proves you are allowing people to harass me, which is 100% against the rules. You guys didn't have a problem with them doing it, but now you had a problem with me saying something back. I said, this went on for 2 months. I says, you really think you're going to go through and win with this? I said, that's not going to happen. I says, so here's the deal. You drop your case, I'll drop, because they had a $4,800 countersuit against me. I looked at it and I says, you're really trying to go with this? You know that's not going to work, right? I didn't say that to him, but I'm thinking to myself, they're going with this? That's not going to work. Because that would be like if you called Microsoft customer service and they sent your complaint over to, you called and complained saying, I'm getting harassed by this person and, whatever, from something that was happening because the information was being leaked. There was clearly on their end. They knew about it and they did nothing about it. And so then they tried saying, well, you're tying up us with all these complaints, and then we had to go send this complaint up to this department who sent it to this department, and this took away, and this is why we're charging all the money. That would be the equivalency of it. And them trying to use that to as a countersuit to charge you for something that is their job. I was thinking to myself, you're really going to try to go with this? That's not going to go over too well. I said, I have enough evidence in here on me right now. I had 114 different things from the game chats itself. I had video evidence, I had audio evidence, I had a bunch of other things. And I had emails from them telling me that you used the friggin'... I mean, dude, it was ridiculous. They had no clue what was going on. And their lawyer was really dumb. Their lawyer was absolutely ridiculously dumb. Because I said to him, I was testing the lawyer before I went in front of the magistrate. I says, listen, you do realize that this is a click. Now, I'm going to talk about people's heads here because they're not going to understand what I'm saying. I said to his lawyer, you do realize that this is a click wrap agreement, right? He had no idea what I was talking about. And I'm sure half of you don't even know what the hell a click wrap agreement is, but it tied in with the case. So I'm basically looking at this guy. I'm like, you're going to go up against the judge, with the magistrate with this? Really? I says, okay, you can feel free. I says, so I gave them the option. I says, if you want to drop your case, I'll drop mine. We can dismiss this, and then we can just go our merry way. But if you want to go up in front of the magistrate, feel free, because I got no problems doing it. I says, I have enough evidence on me right now to crush this counterclaim. So, I mean, and I said, then I'm going to ask for an extension. I'm going to have you guys be forced to give me every single chat record in here that led up to this, plus the accounts. And I says, not only after that, am I going to friggin' petition the court to get these people removed from the game, but I'm now going to slap a civil suit against you for felony harassment, felony stalking, and felony other. It was this mess. And I says, that's where I didn't just vouch my whole strategy, which they probably think that that's not, there's nothing happening with that. But there's a little bit more to this than this. So there's a lot of shit in games that go on that's not even supposed to be going on, which is why games are toxic. Hey James, how's it going? I'll be streaming my game at about 11:30. The verdict was in, but I don't tell anybody what the game is because you have to wait and see. But anyway, I'm just discussing the finer points of these, between toxic streamers and just the problem in general with the gaming community and why online games are so friggin' screwed up right now. All online games are screwed up because the game developers are not forced legally to enforce their terms of service. If they were, games would not be a problem, because what people don't realize, and here's a bit of information for you guys. When I was doing the research for my court case, I found out games are actually online MMOs and stuff like that. Any game that has a text chat in it is actually classified under law as social media, and thus are susceptible to the social media laws. And we all know how Facebook is with people harassing people and everything else. Those laws apply to games simply because the game itself is clarified under law as social media. And another thing that people don't realize is that game developers will try to hide behind the terms of service, but the terms of service don't actually apply in some cases because the court system will throw it right out. What the court system does is it doesn't care what the terms of service are. You can click I agree to it, but the problem with the terms of service when it comes to specific things are the game developer has this statement in there, well, we deem or we think or we can determine. But when it comes to certain things online, they can't do that. That stuff has already been defined by, at least in the United States, has been defined by the court systems as well as the U.S. as well as by the Department of Justice. Online harassment, cyber stalking, cyber bullying, and cyber discrimination. Contrary to what people think, those are actual things. Now, those are a far reach, but they are actual laws, but it's tricky to get them into play, so I don't make it sound like it's easy. But the fact remains, if you cut out all the bullshit through the terms of service, the reason why we assume that if somebody's harassing you in a game, there is a clear distinction of what harassment is, defined by both the Department of Justice and the U.S. Supreme Court. You can go on their websites and read it. It's defined by them. They have defined what that is. So if a game developer or whatever it is, a moderator, tries to determine what they think is harassment, they can't do that. That doesn't work like that, because that's basically saying that the game developers and the game designers and the moderators are dictating what the law states after the Department of Justice and the U.S. Supreme Court does that. So in retrospect, them trying to hide behind the terms of service in certain things is trying to tell the U.S. Supreme Court and the Department of Justice, the government, what they are going to tell the government's laws. Wrong. It doesn't work like that. The government dictates how the laws are made and what the game developers have to follow, not the other way around. So when you start using that context, you start to realize that the game developers don't actually have as much power in their terms of service as you think they do. They just have led you to believe they do under specific situations. Now, under specific situations, the game developer can do whatever the hell that they want. The game developer can just shut the damn system down and just for no reason at all. And people can complain all they want. But here's the thing. Not having a reason is a reason. They can just do that. It's in the terms of service. They own the damn game. They own the service. They can just shut it off. There is no legal binding telling you they have to give it to you. No, you purchased it, you bought a license right, you agreed to the license right that says, if we want to, disband this, we will. It's as simple as that. So, the thing here is that if you guys have any issues of something that frosts your ass, just let me know, you know what I mean? I'll talk about whatever. But I'm not going to remove people from the chat because there's no reason to. You have a right to friggin' say whatever you want. That's just ridiculous. So I babbled on long enough. And like I said, in a little while, I'm actually just going to go to stream the game. I had actually had my viewers pick up. But, this is just an open discussion about what the hell's the problem with the gaming community in general. And it's always been like this, and it always will until the game developers and online people are forced to enforce their terms of service equally amongst everybody. And that's just not going to happen, unfortunately. And that's about, the extent of that on that end. So, I'm just going to, chill out for a few minutes here. People are like, you're mad. Okay, I'm mad, whatever. You going to bed, hon? No, my wife is going to bed. So, I'm actually going to go tuck her in. I'm just going to basically end this discussion. I'm going to have another open discussion eventually again. But I got to get ready to stream this game because there was a massive amount of setup I had to do for it. And I'll discuss that when it goes through. So, alright guys, I'm going to end this in general and talk to you guys later. Like I said, about 11:30 I'm going to be streaming that game. So, keep an eye out for it. Give or take 10 minutes or so. Alright, take care guys. Thanks. TL Gamer signing off. Thanks for the votes, thanks for the views, thanks for the support. Appreciate it.